yolk separate the nut from the apples, and the men consume during the summer months. Urak mixed with
in fact, in those
never required. Note all the earthen utensils we used. It is also known Bigfoot because the legendary imprint of the foot of a virtuous man whose character and penance pleased God so much that he was lifted to heaven is found in this place. Ancestral Goa offers you a glimpse of what Goa looked like and how life in his paradise on earth was a couple of decades ago. Behind you, by the side of the main entrance, is the fan of those to a pole was moved pulling the attached rope, thereby stirring the air to provide a cool environment to those seated below. Opposite that, you can see the palanquin, the mode of transport for the landlords. While the master and his mistress would seat in the palanquin, 4 able-bodied men employed as porters would lift it on their shoulders or heads and carry them. In front of you, carved out of a single laterite stone, Mahendra Alvares, who conceptualized Ancestral Goa, single-handedly sculpted this image by using traditional tools. His labor of love has been recognized as the longest sculpture on a single laterite rock in India.
came from the sea when Lord Parshuram, the 6th avatar of Lord Vishnu, shot an arrow into the Arabian Sea from the Sahyadris. The waters receded from the point where the arrow landed, and Konkan, including Goa, came into being. After paying our respects to the Hello, I am Damio, the local fisherman. Why are you gaping at me? Is it because of what is covering me? Oh, this is the rainwear that we Goans made it. Going with their nets to catch nature's bounty. Tashti, or the loincloth, was worn by us. Take a closer look at them. Behind, you can see the salt pans. Briny water from the sea was let into these pans, and once the water evaporated due to the heat from the bright sun, we got salt. Let us now move ahead to meet people.
Hi, I'm Pittu, the local fishmonger. I sell fish by visiting the households in the village. I am easily identified because of the blouse with prominently puffed sleeves and a distinctly patterned flare skirt. You can now see a section depicting some of the houses and occupations along the coastline. Behind you are the huskers at work, dehusking the coconuts on a simple implement called cooker. While the coconuts would be sold in the market, strong ropes would be made from the coir on a simple machine, which later were used to make various items including mats. You can also see some of the tools and implements used to pluck coconuts, repair rafters from the stem, etc.
After climbing the steps, to your right is Incidentally, the gumot was used by all communities for this celebration. Up on your left is Martin, the toddy tapper. Returning home with the toddy in his pot, and the kati, the special sickle used to prune the coconut fluorescence to extract the toddy, from which Goa's elixir, coconut fluids like the flour, the leveler, etc., that were required to till the land are displayed here. Each cattle head had a different bell tied around its neck, so that the farmer could identify.
Cashews are collected twice a day by the family members. The women folk separate the nut from the apples, and the men crush the apples under their feet. The juice is collected in pots for fermentation. Once fermented, it is put in a big pot and boiled. Vapors are collected in the small pot, where they are condensed by pouring water on the pot, and the resultant first distill is called urak, which is a light drink and is mostly consumed during the summer months. Urak mixed with more fermented juice is once again distilled, and the second distill is the kaju feni, quite a potent drink. The nuts were roasted and kernel was removed from them by cracking the nut open, as the lady in the green sari is doing. From the remaining nut shell, oil was extracted from and used to waterproof boats and also as a pesticide. Ahead is a cross, anywhere and everywhere, but with a purpose, either in memory of the person who died there or at lonely places, so that passersby could get solace with the thought that God is with them.
This is a village spring where the water is channelized through the mouth of a cow, as it is considered to be a holy animal, or mouth of the cow's spring. The spring fulfilled many needs of the villagers. While the animals waded in its waters to cool down, the women folk used it to wash their clothes and utensils, as we can see Shantu doing. A tub covered out of laterite stone to soak the clothes was usually kept by the side of the spring. Naturally available berries called rito were used to cleanse the body. Let us now go ahead to visit Nandu, the village porter. In those days, the potter was a very important person. Here you can see the various stages involved in preparing the clay item, ranging from sieving the sand to polishing the final piece and baking it. Note the change in clothing at every stage of work, including the different attire worn by those marketing.
Next to Nandu's house is Inas's house. He is the local carpenter and his house doubles up as a workplace too. Here we can see Inas's wife feeding her child behind the curtain. The carpenters of those times amalgamated Western patterns with Indian motifs to prepare truly artistic furniture that is so fascinating even in present times. The tools of the carpenter's trade along with their clothes are on display. Behind you is the Goan shepherd called Dangar, who live in the hills of the Sayadris and tend to mostly goats, though they also had some cattle heads. At times, especially during the sowing and harvesting season, he came down to the plains to help the farmers, and in return took away grain for his consumption. The Dangar always carried a towel which doubled up as a turban to protect him from the blazing sun. It is a popular belief that everybody and every place has a guardian angel. Here, by the side of the step, you can see a place dedicated to the protector of the village called Rakhondar. Whenever anybody would leave his village on a journey, 7 lamps were lit. for his and his family's safety, while earlier small urban fossils were offered. In present times, agarbatti evil oil, colored ones for young girls, specially shaped and colored ones.
The grams would be baked in the presence of the customers itself. Would you like to taste some? Then go ahead and purchase them if Gonpot's assistant is around. The cobbler, hunched over, totally engrossed in his work to prepare fancy footwear. At times, he would also melt footwear, bags, purses, belts, or any other leather item. We have also saw that at the higher level you can see Anand's house with the Please observe the kitchen partitioned from the balcony where all the sweets offered during the festival are being prepared. Incidentally, Ganesh Chaturthi is the biggest festival for Goan Hindus. By the side of Anand's house, we can see the tableau depicting Samudra Manthan, or the churning of the sea to extract nectar that made the gods invincible in their battle against demons, and during which period Lord Vishnu took on the Vara avatar.
Rua on a marine leads to the marketplace, which in those days was called the Tinto. The order is advertised with its poster prominently pasted at the Tinto. To the extreme left is the village crier announcing the news of interest to the villagers. To the extreme right is the tax collector, who besides collecting the taxes will also take the requirements of his household. Behind you, the two laterite stone columns you see is what was called Doorneck. It was a raised platform to provide some rest and relief to people carrying heavy loads on their heads. The person would just slide the load on the platform, rest for some time, and then slide the load back onto the bed and post Kashina, who used to sit either under a shady tree or in the Tinto itself and give the men their haircuts and shaves. The Baba also had another important role to play in the village of making matches and at times also
music classes.
Music, it is said, runs in the blood of Goans. Mistri, or the church choir master, would give special classes to the talented children, as can be seen at his house at the extreme left on top. The most preferred instrument was the violin. In fact, the violin became so popular that it is now adopted in Indian classical music. Just on top of the Mistri's house, you can see a sundial. Correct your watch if you want the exact geographical time. Next to the Mistri's house is the Tabakaria, or tobacco house. Tobacco trade was a major business, and that is why there were tobacco houses. In fact, it was through these tobacco houses that the postal service started in Goa. The huge wall is the font where the spring water is channelized through the mouth of the king of the seas, Lord Neptune. The water would meander through the village, ultimately ending up in the pond that we saw earlier. Turn back to meet Donna Maria and have a glimpse of her.
Welcome to my house. Here I am seated in my balcony, enjoying the view of my garden with my pet dog Jimmy. My clothes are a combination of various cultures where the Portuguese had their colonies. My hair is styled the Japanese way. The blouse is a modification of the Chinese tunic. My skirt is an adaptation of the Southeast Asian sarong, and to give it an Indian touch, I have this dupatta on my shoulder. My house has a high plinth and a number of steps leading to it, not only to elevate the house, but also to provide a place for all others to sit and chat in the evening. You can see that the well is a part of my kitchen so that my servants could easily draw the water whenever required. Note all the earthen utensils we used, not only for cooking, but also for storage, like that don there. You must have heard of smoked Goan sausages. Well, here you can see them hanging above the fireplace to get smoked naturally along with the onions that we use in our cooking. Thank you so very much. I'm sorry I could not serve you anything, but please go down the steps and stop at the tavern.
Machines that were much in use, where the men folk would gather in the evening after the hard day's work to take a drink or two and also exchange gossip. This was the only place that offered entertainment, and you can see some people playing tabla, a game extremely popular then. He must be feeling a little tired after learning so much about ancient Goa. Well, stop at a tavern, not for an alcoholic drink, but a healthy drink of coconut.
बिगफुट नामक पौराणिक स्थान पे आपका स्वागत है। इन 8 तस्वीरों द्वारा चित्रित की गई कहानी में आपको चट्टान में पाए गए पग चिन्ह का नाम इस जगह को पढ़ने की जानकारी मिलेगी। ये कहानी एक दौलतमंद आदमी महादर की है, जो दयालु और उदार था और गरीब जरूरतमंद लोगों की मदद करता। लालची लोग झूठ बोलकर उससे खाना, कपड़ा और पैसे मांगते, क्योंकि वे काम करने के लिए बहुत आलसी थे। ऐसा ही एक आदमी था पुरम, जिसने महादर का सारा धन चुराने की साजिश रची। उसने अपने ऊपर दुर्भाग्य आने का नाटक किया और महादर से मदद मांगी। महादर इतने दयालु थे कि उसे मना नहीं कर पाए, लेकिन उसकी लालच का कोई अंत नहीं था। वो और अधिक पैसे मांगते गया। महादर ने जो कुछ उसके पास था सब पुरम की मदद करने में लगाया। अंत में महादर के पास देने के लिए और कुछ नहीं बचा। पुरम ने उसे अपना घर बेचने पर मजबूर किया और वो पैसे भी हड़प लिए। महादर और उसकी बीवी बेघर होकर सड़क पर उतर आए। फिर एक दिन महादर की पत्नी बहुत बीमार पड़ गई, लेकिन कोई उनकी मदद के लिए नहीं पहुंचा। जिनकी मदद करने के लिए महादर ने अपना सब कुछ त्याग कर दिया, वे भी उसकी मदद के लिए नहीं आए। उसकी पत्नी मर जाने से महादर अकेला पड़ गया, लेकिन महादर का विश्वास अटूट था। वो जगह जगह घूमकर जितना हो सकता लोगों की मदद करता। उसकी निर्भर स्थिति देख भगवान उन्हें सपने में दर्शन देकर पूछते हैं, क्या तुम पुरम से अपनी संपत्ति वापस हासिल करना चाहते हो? महादर ने भगवान से पुरम को माफ करने की विनती करते हुए कहा कि वो अपने हाल में खुश है। उसके उत्तर से प्रसन्न होकर भगवान ने महादर को वरदान मांगने को कहा। तब महादर ने भगवान से एक छोटी सी जगह मांगी, जहां वो खड़ा रहकर मानवता की शांति के लिए प्रार्थना कर सके। महादर की अधिक परीक्षा लेने के लिए भगवान ने उन्हें एक गर्म चट्टान दिखाई। महादर राजी खुशी उस चट्टान पे एक पैर पे खड़ा हो गया और कई सालों तक प्रार्थना की। उसकी आस्था से प्रसन्न होकर भगवान महादर को स्वर्ग में ले जाते हैं, लेकिन उसके पैर के निशान उस चट्टान पे हमेशा के लिए छूट गए। इस जगह का नाम बिगफुट पड़ा। अगर आप गुफा में प्रवेश करें तो आप महादर के पैरों के निशान पाएंगे। कथानुसार महावीर को वरदान के तौर पर जो कोई सच्चे मन से प्रार्थना करता है उसे आशीर्वाद प्राप्त होता है और उसकी मनोकामना जरूर पूरी होती है। अपनी मनोकामना को तब तक राज में रखें जब तक उसकी प्राप्ति ना हो। कृपया अपने जूते बाहर छोड़ें और अंदर प्रवेश करते वक्त सिर नीचे झुकाकर चलें। चाहे तो आप अगरबत्ती जला सकते हैं। अगरबत्ती आप
यहाँ आप भारत का सबसे बड़ा चिरे का शिल्प देख सकते हैं। यह शिल्प हमारे भारतीय संस्कृति की याद दिलाता है। संत मीराबाई एक तारे के सुरों पर संगीत स्वरों में खुद को भूल चुकी हैं। इस शिल्प पर ग्रीक रोम शिल्प कला का असर नजर आता है। यह शिल्प कलाकार जॉसलिन महेंद्र अराउजो अल्वारेस द्वारा सन 1994 में निर्माण किया गया। एक लंबे चौड़े चिरे पर केवल छन्नी, हथौड़े जैसे मामूली औजारों की मदद से कलाकार ने इसकी निर्मिती सिर्फ 30 दिनों में की। शिल्प गंधार कला की भी याद दिलाता है। मीरा के माथे की बिंदी, बाहों में बाजूबंद, बालों में गजरा, हाथों में कंगन, ये बातें उसका भारतीयत्व अधोरेखित करती है। उसके बालों में सोने के फूल उसे गोवा का